Bonjour et bienvenue à Salvation TV sur le programme intitulé French 101. Je m'appelle Monsieur Napoleon Belingabodi sur cette émission éducative. My name is Napoleon Belingabodi once more again on this program French 101. Please invite your friends, your husband, your wife with the writing material to take note on this program again. It's going to hit hard today. We're going to learn so many things that you need to understand. To learn French is a very easy thing, mostly on Salvation TV. Please, thank you very much to that effect. I want to tell us, in our previous class, we talked about les jours de la semaine. I am sure you must have learned a lot of things there. Don't forget, we are going to use those things again in our subsequent classes again. And so, remember what you've learned. And I want to also remind you that we also talk about le mois de l'année. Please revisit your note and then update yourself as we go into today's lesson. So today we're going to talk about one wonderful topic that you're going to like. Of course, you're the businessmen there, the pastors there that are going to use the numbers to quote your Bible and all that. So today our topic is going to be what I title les nombres cardinaux. Of course, I told you that one important thing to articulate French very well is using the very celebrated letter in French. And what is that letter again, if you remember? What is that again? Letter what? R. And how do you pronounce it? R. I say R. Let me hear you say R. R. Okay, that's good. And so today we're going to talk about what I titled les nombres cardinaux. And the question is, qu'est-ce que veut dire les nombres cardinaux? And say, qu'est-ce que veut dire? Of course, remember, sometime I told you that there are some terminologies and expressions that I used. And I say you're going to be taking your note by the use of those words and expressions. You remember them? If you don't remember, I remind you again. I said, veut dire. Veut dire. And what's the meaning of that veut dire again? Means. Okay? I talked about il y a, look at your note there, you're going to see it. Il y a means there are. And I also talk about ils sont. Ils sont means they are. I also talked about en anglais, in English. And I also talked about en français, in French. I also talked about est. Est, of course, is spelled E-S-T. In French, is spelled E-S-T. That means is. And I also told you about C apostrophe E-S-T, which means it's. These and so many others will storm your way soon as possible. And so I am saying that today our topic is les nombres cardinaux. Les nombres cardinaux. How do you spell nombre cardinaux? Les nombres is L-E-S. Les. Please, I didn't say lest. I say les. L-E-S, but I'm pronouncing it as what? Le. Le. Nombre. Nombre is spelled N-O-M-B-R-E-S. That is nombre. Cardinaux is spelled C-A-R-D-I-N-A-U-X. And if you put all these together, you have what is titled les nombres cardinaux. What do you have there? Can I hear you say les nombres cardinaux? Les nombres cardinaux. That's a good one. Please, anytime you are speaking French, the pronunciation of your R, very, very important. So look at your note there and pronounce it very well for me. I can hear someone pronouncing it there. Les nombres cardinaux. Let me hear you. Les nombres cardinaux. That A-U-X is pronounced O. Just O. Just O. Pronounce it as O. Anyway, you see A-U-X, pronounce it as what? O. Even if the X is not there, it is O. We're going to treat that in our subsequent classes, but not now. But for now, just know that that is pronounced as O. And I'm sure you must have written down what the topic is today. And so I want to go down to what I have today. Now, when we talk about les nombres cardinaux, les nombres cardinaux, if you are writing, les nombres cardinaux veut dire. Les nombres cardinaux veut dire. I hope you know how to write veut dire there. Les nombres cardinaux veut dire the cardinal numbers. The cardinal numbers. Les nombres cardinaux veut dire the cardinal numbers. Of course, we are doing what I call franc-anglais. Franc-anglais is a situation where you have, in a sentence, you have English and you have French. Please, I'll be mixing it like this so that you that are out there that are storming this class for the first time, you will not get missed. If I go French all through, we're going to encounter some difficulty. So we'll try to do it such that you will be able to write something down. And so we're going to mix in one sentence French and English, a method I call le franc-anglais. All right, be that as it may, I said les nombres cardinaux. Les nombres cardinaux, like I was saying, by definition or by explanation, les nombres cardinaux veut dire. In case you've forgotten or you're watching us for the first time, veut dire is spelled V-E-U-T hyphen D-I-R. That is veut dire by pronunciation. What's the meaning? Somebody's asking. What's the meaning? It means. When I say les nombres cardinaux veut dire, I say les nombres cardinaux means. That's what I'm talking about there. Les nombres cardinaux veut dire the cardinal numbers en anglais. Les nombres cardinaux veut dire the cardinal numbers en anglais. I hope you still remember what en anglais is all about again. If you've forgotten, I want to remind you that en anglais, which is spelled E-N, a word on its own, then anglais, which is spelled A-N-G-L-A-I-S. Anglais. En anglais, put all together, you have in English as a meaning. So I say les nombres cardinaux veut dire the cardinal numbers en anglais. I hope somebody is clear enough about that explanation of our topic. All right, in case you still have some difficulties, I want to repeat it again by telling you, by definition or by explanation of the topic, which is titled or intitulé, of course, that's the French version, titled. In French, we could say intitulé les nombres cardinaux. And I say les nombres cardinaux veut dire the cardinal numbers en anglais. And I said the word veut dire means. When I say veut dire, I'm simply saying les nombres cardinaux means. Okay? Les nombres cardinaux veut dire the cardinal numbers en anglais. And I say en anglais veut dire in English. When I say en anglais, I am saying in English. Okay? All right, I'll move on. I haven't gotten that understanding, wonderful understanding. I want to say that French is a very melodious language that when you have a good grasp of it, you'll be very proud as a businessman. You'll be very happy. I think, of course, a working knowledge of French will make you to heal the world. And so people do say it's difficult, French numbers. I want to give you a secret before I go into the fabric or the body of what I have for us today. Now, the French numbers are very, very easy. I tell you, they are easy. How do you know that they are easy? The only problem or the only difficulty or challenge you may come across is just the very first two lines that I call the x-axis. What do I call x-axis? Let me come down. Don't be confused. You'll get there. Now, when you are able to understand 1 to 10, then 11 to 20, those two lines, I call them the x-axis. And then you should be able to understand 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, down to 100. That axis, I'll call it the y-axis. Of course, for all of us who have come across the graphical method of solving problems in our classes previously or subsequently will be, I want to say there's what we call x-axis and the y-axis. And it's a very good method that I personally discovered while learning the French numbers, which is titled Les Nombres Cardinaux. And now, having said that, I want to say that we are going to study all through the 1, 2, until get to 10, then the 11 to 20, and the 20, 30, 40 down to 100. And then how to connect them. Of course, if you're able to understand the x-axis of your numbers in French and the y-axis of these numbers, I just want to get you a frame, a picture in your mind that 1 to 10, then 11 to 20, is what I call the x-axis. Get it in your mind. Get a picture of that. And then 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, down to 100, which I'll call the y-axis. Please, the moment you master this x-axis and the y-axis, I tell you, there is no number on planet Earth as far as French is concerned that you cannot read. You may doubt it, but I tell you that is how it is. So the challenge you have here, or the battle you have to fight here, is understanding the x-axis and the y-axis. So how does it go? We go. Now, over the years, I heard a lot of people, instead of they will say on. Please, the pronunciation to one in French is not on. It's un. Of course, sometimes you may be called as a child, as an adult, your grandmother, your grandfather may call you sometime in our local villages, in our local areas, Napoleon. Sometimes I may decide to say, or mistakenly, or by nature of my environment, my grandmama is been found, Napoleon, I can decide to say, of course, every of us used to say that sometime in the past. Please, look at it from that language setting, and then borrow that come to this class. When you are called, sometime you can say that pronunciation, a little amended, you get one in French. There is no way you are called, you want to say you say on. No, you say what? So in French, our one is a In French, our one is What is one in French? Please, from today, understand that French, what we call one, is What is that? Let me hear you say Répétez encore. 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 Oh, that's good. Bravo. That was a very good pronunciation. So please, from today, I don't want to hear from anybody that is a member of this class or a learner, a student of this French 101 community. I wouldn't want to hear from you pronouncing for me instead of you say on. Please, do not suffer. When you say on, you are trying to deform your mouth, deform the pronunciation of that word. So let me hear you say again. Encore. Okay. All right, that is one. And it's spelled U-N. How do you spell is spelled U-N. U-N. Now, that is How do you pronounce it? I can hear somebody saying it. Okay, that's bravo. That's a very good one. And so the next thing there is de. Let me say de. 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 Now, de is spelled D-E-U-X. 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 That is a de. Let me say de. 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 That means two. All right, the next thing there you have to learn is trois. 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 And how do you spell trois? Trois is spelled T-R-O-I-S. You know, this is another area that I observe students pronouncing instead of trois, they're pronouncing with tros. 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 Please, that is not the pronunciation. The last S there is silence. The last S, silence. I say low S, silence. Who understand what I say when I say low S, silence? Low S, meaning the S, silence. I told us that there means is. What about silence? Okay, that's a very good one. Somebody saying silence. Okay, so low S, silence, meaning the S is silent. It's not pronounced. Okay, so the pronunciation there is trois. Trois. Of course, if I am to meet you one-on-one, of course, I will tell you, you may be tempted to get something like T-R-U-W-A. Trois. Trois. That's what you are supposed to pronounce. Anyway, we'll be going to some phonetic transcription of this thing with time. In subsequent classes. When we get to that place, we're going to do that. But for now, take it that is trois. Trois, you could spell it any way. You'll be able to pronounce it as trois. Trois is the pronunciation. In Africa, we say trois. The Europeans, the French people will say trois. They are pronouncing the R from inside their gullet. That makes a difference. All right, and trois means three. Okay, the next thing is quatre. Is what? Quatre. And what is quatre? The quatre there, I also heard some people that used to say quatre. Quatre. Please, it's not quatre. It's quatre. You're going to pretend as if you don't see the U there. And the pronunciation orally, the U is not pronounced, and the last E is also not pronounced. All these are laws that are guiding the language. And these laws are going to be, we're going to talk about these laws when we are through with all the foundation classes that we have on ground here. Because this program, French 101, is a loaded program that you can't afford to miss. Of course, like I was saying, quatre. How do you spell quatre? Quatre is spelled Q-U-A-T-R-E. So Q-U-A-T-R-E. That is quatre. Quatre. Of course, if I should spell it in French, you're going to have something like Q, Q, U, A, T, R, E. That is quatre. Of course, if you visit your alphabet again, we told you, whatever we're doing here is what you have right in your alphabet there. And French could be spelled, quatre could be spelled as in Q, U, A, R, T, E. That is what? Quatre. If I were to be there, seated, learning French, by what I'm hearing as pronunciation, I could have something like K-A-T-R. K-A-T-R. I could have something like that. And that will give me exactly the pronunciation I want there. And that will give me quatre. Quatre. Let me say quatre. So that you can avoid pronouncing it by mistake, by error of commission or omission. Avoid pronouncing it as quatre. No, it's not quatre. It's known as a quatre. By the time you're able to spell something like K-A-T-R, you have the pronunciation there, quatre. Although that is not the phonetic transcription of that word quatre, but just because we have a lot of us who are just looking at this program, watching this program, following us for the first time, and the first timers, for them to follow, we have to go this way. So quatre. Let me say quatre. Quatre. And quatre means what? Four. All right. The next thing in my list there is a cinq. And cinq is five. 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 And that is cinq. Please do not pronounce these things. Like I told you, you must be encouraged. This is the only area that you may be facing challenges. Immediately you have been able to pass this environment here, I tell you, you are going to fly. French numbers become very easy. I promise. That I promise you. And you're going to see it. As we get to 20, and we'll get down from 20, 10, 30, to 10, 30, 20, 40, down to 100. By the time we assemble them, you see that the whole thing becomes easier. From that point, you can read to any number. Any number, I promise you that. And so, watch out. So, cinq, like I was saying. And what is cinq? Cinq is your five. And cinq is spelled C-I-N-Q. And that is a cinq. if I should spell that in French, because we need to understand how it's also spelled in French, because we have been able to sometime, I started this class, we have told you of how the French alphabet are read. And so that could be C, E, N, Q, and that is a cinq. And like I said, we have a lot of people who are following us for the first time, and so you could also pronounce this as in S, E, N, K. If you spell S, E, N, K, you can get cinq. Can't you see it? Cinq there. Okay? But then, that is not the way you are to write it. Please, I'm just telling you this because of the fact that you are maybe Anglophone. You are in an Anglophone environment. Of course, when I say cinq, you wouldn't easily go back to say it is C-I-N-Q. What will hit your mind is S-E-N-K. Of course, that is the pronunciation to the layman's. I'm explaining that for people who are following us for the first time on French 101. With time, these things are not going to come up this way. If I am to give you pronunciation, I go straight to phonetic sound, the way they are pronounced in French. But we don't go that because French 101 is a foundation class, French that is for everybody. It's not for the higher levels. And so cinq is what? 5. So what is cinq in French? In English? 5. And what is 5 in French? Cinq. Let me hear you say cinq. 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 That was a very good one. Okay? We're proceeding to six. Six. Six, please. The six is a very easy one to pronounce, of course. Six is the same spelling with the English spelling. You know, the pronunciation, the last X there is turning to S. So you have six. When you're writing it, of course, it's the same orthograph, but it's spelled S-S-I-X. But when you are pronouncing it, the X at the end there will change to what? S. So six. Let me say six. 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 That is how that is pronounced, and that is 6. All right. As we go further, you are going to see the next thing. The next thing there is set. The set there is spelled S-E-P-T. S-E-P-T. But you see the pronunciation is also coming. The P there is silent. You don't pronounce the P. So pretend as if you don't see the P there. And so the pronunciation you're going to have is S-E-T. The pronunciation you're going to have there to get 7 in French is S-E-T. And how do you pronounce S-E-T? S-E-T is going to be pronounced as set. And that is 7 pronounced. Please don't say sept. The P there is silent. So our 7, which is set, is spelled as S-E-P-T. And the pronunciation is S-E-T. That is how you pronounce it. Set. You're writing it as S-E-P-T, but the pronunciation is what? S-E-T. And so how do you pronounce S-E-T? Set. Set. Let me say set. Set. Encore. Set. Encore. Set. That is how your 7 is pronounced. We're going to take it gradually so that you get this things very well. Okay, the next thing there is wheat. Wheat. You know, sometimes when we started French, it was a problem. We used to say ut. And of course, in my classes, I see a lot of people are saying ut. It's not ut, it's wheat. You only have the word, the sound, with, come with me, wheat. Wheat is what you spelled, is what you pronounced there. Wheat, if you could get something like W-I-T, wheat. That is just how you pronounce your 8. And 8 in French is spelled H-U-I-T. In French, it's going to be H-U-I-T. 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 What I've simply spelled there is a H-U-I-T. That's what I spelled. Okay? And the pronunciation of that word in French is wheat. That is pronounced wheat. Let me hear you say wheat. 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 And what is wheat? Wheat is 8. All right, the next thing there is neuf. The neuf is a 9. 9. 9 in French is 9. 9 is your 9. And how do you spell 9 in French? In French, the 9 is spelled N-E-U-T. Of course, don't be confused. Somebody's telling me I should spell in English. Okay, let's go. N-E-U-F. Let's go again. N-E-U-F. And that's 9. And how do you spell it in French? French students who have learned the French alphabet, how do you spell it in French again? N-E-U-F. N-E-U-F. And that's 9. The next thing there is the 10. And what is 10? 10 is spelled D-I-X. And in French, it's spelled D-E-X. That's your dis. Of course, the pronunciation of this is D-I-S. That's the pronunciation. You don't say Dix. Please, you don't say Dix. You say dis. You say what? Dis. Although the spelling, the orthograph is D-I-X. Somebody will be tempted to say Dix. Please, don't say Dix. The pronunciation there is this. This is a pronunciation. This, not Dix, but this. And this is 10. This is 10. Of course, if we put this together again, if you look at your book, you will see what you have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Please do not forget them because we are going to use them. Like I told you sometime before, as this class started, I said, the moment you understand this line, I call the x-axis and the y-axis, the vertical and the horizontal line of these letters, these figures. Everything you have in French numbers are embedded in this x-axis and the y-axis. That's why I'm emphasizing on this area. Please understand the x-axis, meaning the 1 to 10 that I just finished, and then 11 to 20, and then 10, 20 down to 100. Then everything about numbers, you will be able to deal with it in French.